Hello, we've started.
We
I'm
didn't even
Danny.
play the movie.
I didn't do anything.
Holy mackerel. All right, here we are.
No, we're not. We're going to play the movie. 'Cause you know why? Because
Because
of
you
what you
love it.
said.
You
Yeah.
love it.
All right.
I thought you.
It's a work of art.
Now I love it. You know why I love it?
Why?
Because halfway through, there's a T205 Germany Schaefer card in there that I had never noticed before. So
I
now it makes me happy.
good. Good.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a good thing. It's a
no,
good
it's okay.
it makes us happy. It's a toe
I can
tapper.
take it. See, it proves that I watch your stuff.
Yeah. I've got too much stuff, unfortunately.
Well,
Speaking of stuff, hold on one
yeah.
second. Holy mackerel. Why didn't anybody tell me my hair was on fire earlier? Okay. I'm good
I,
now. It's like, why would I put my chair underneath a light with this head?
what do you do? What do you do for a living? Do you acoustics, lighting, anything related?
Yeah. Well, let's
Yeah.
just say when the ladies come home from the bunny ranch, they don't necessarily want to wrestle between the sheets on their day off. So that's the same thing. I don't do any of what I do for a living well when I'm off the clock. How's that sound?
It sounds like it makes sense, but I don't think it's the same thing. I got to tell you.
Okay. All right.
I wouldn't compare what you do to what they do, but that's just the reason I forgot to play the intro is because that's John Keating. I'm Danny Black, and we are catching up tonight. Our topic is baseball cards and sports hobby. How does that sound?
I'm going by uh the alias of Asterisk tonight. Okay. I've decided to call myself Asterisk. That's it.
Is it like when Prince was just that his symbol?
Yes. Yes, I am
Yes,
Symbol Man.
yes.
I'm protesting the fact that have been on the air way too much lately. So I am
Could
Symbol
you at
Man.
least be the Oxford comma or something controversial we
I
could
love
really
the
dig
Oxford
into?
comma. I love both.
You got to have the Oxford comma, otherwise you don't know what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
I love misusing the Oxford comma, and I love calling people out for not using the Oxford comma.
My wife actually has a T-shirt about the Oxford comma. It makes me think of your vintage T-shirt. Uh,
Ah,
I don't I
uh,
don't know why I ever just connected you to my wife in a good way, but
hey, well,
yeah.
don't call me.
I mean, she married me, so you
I've
got
met
a
your
chance
wife. I've
there,
seen your
Katie.
wife. Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
your. As usual, as we say about each other. I don't know what she's doing with you, but whatever.
Well, we have an expression. I like everything about her, but her taste in men.
Yep,
That.
exactly.
So, what have you been up to recently, other than on every show in the world?
I've been on every show in the world, and oddly enough, I've been working very hard. I know that sounds dumb. I rarely talk about work, and I'm often shown in various states of work and hotels and stuff like that. But I literally, on the other side of the wall over there, I've been working my rear end off lately. And what that means is I haven't been buying cards, which is kind of a drag, but maybe it's a good thing because I've processed all the collections that I've bought. I've done the last weekend, I put my 56 tops in binders, which was one of those projects I was supposed to do ages ago. So I haven't bought any cards or I haven't really done anything but talk to other people about cards lately, which I guess is okay. It's just as therapeutic to talk about cards with other collectors if you can't be playing with them. So
I said this the other day. Is it okay to say that we still play with our cards? Because
all the time, man.
I,
Yeah.
I play with my cards.
Yep.
I don't have to buy or sell. You know,
Yeah.
to 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 be hobby active, I guess.
I listed on Facebook about Altogether between basketball, football, and baseball, about 100 and maybe 70,000 cards this past
Wow.
weekend on Facebook Marketplace. So that'll be fun to kind of say goodbye to that stuff. But what I did do, I made a mistake. I had these little boxes that have cards from my youth, like beaters, 76 beaters, 75 beaters, and I threw them into the bunch. I got to pull them out because they're not going to go in a binder, but it's like those are the cards I pulled from a pack. So I had to have a kind of I had to have a talk with myself saying, pull them back out. I had them in a nice spot off to the side for a while, but I have yeah, they're beaters, but they were the beaters that I played with when I was a kid. So I have to pull them out of the boxes and make sure I hold on to them forever, right?
Yeah. And you actually, I want to ask you a question because you just mentioned something, and I have a couple small sets that I've put together, whether it was the 54 Orioles team set,
Mhm.
I'm becoming a slave to the registry again after all these years. I'm back to it,
Don't do
and
it, man. Don't do it.
I know, but we're there on some of it. Let's just say
Okay.
we're already there on some of it. I I kind of want to display some of these. I'm
Yeah.
um, and I love Show Your Slabs. Corey's from Baltimore. Let me give a shout out.
Okay.
To that, and it's wonderful. It's not an easy thing to take to the dining room table to show off. What any suggestions for like 15 to 25 slabs in a nice display that's a little portable, or am I just stuck in a
Well, portable is, I have the ones over there. You can kind of see them. I think you may have seen them in the past in various things. But when I come down the basement, which is the steps are like right behind my enormous head, the first thing I see is 4 display cases, and then I have my Yaz one. So I have 5 display cases, and I try to keep that stuff in my basement. I don't like to, spread it around the house. I'm lucky that I have this space that only I go, me and the dog frequent, but it's good to have that space, and I try to keep the rest of the house out of it because I don't want my wife to get mad at like, why are these cards? Every now and then I'll sort at the kitchen table, but by the end of the night, it all goes back down to the basement. So, don't be afraid to go in your room and switch up your display, or if there's a place that you pass frequently during the day, I work in my office down there,
oh, that's an interesting concept.
and
Put
I
them on.
just I stop and I look. Danny. I looked today at one of my display cases, and I'm like, that's fun, and it gives me
Yeah,
joy. And every day when I come down, I see it, but a couple times a week, I'll stop and pause at one of the cases and look at, and I move things around a little bit. I need to get more display cases. Like over here behind me, Mark Hoyle gave me this picture. It's a charcoal painting of Yaz. So it's like I'm probably going to fill this wall up with
that's
stuff
cool.
now. So it's everything. If you have the space to grow, it's great. I know you have your own office there, which is
Yeah.
pretty
I don't.
spectacular.
Well, and I've got the illusion. I'm doing the fake illusion thing. I'm a little limited on space
Right.
to the side, but I display and good storage are kind of, oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Display and storage. You with me?
Yeah. So this is what I worked on last weekend. That's my
Okay.
basketball and football cards. The green ones are football, the pink ones are basketball. So it's you just and then there's some junk up there. But yeah, you just move stuff around, man. Just move it around. God knows my wife moves stuff around the house all the time.
I gotta
I don't know
settle
where it
in.
is from week to week.
I gotta settle in.
Yeah. Up, see, here comes my dog. I told you.
Are you pet friendly in the card area?
Yeah, he doesn't mess around. He's old, so he doesn't care about stuff.
No
Like
jumping, no jumping up on the counters and
no, if I don't have a cat. We used to be cat people, but thank goodness I don't have a cat because cats would wreak havoc on everything. This guy doesn't care. He's my buddy. He sits in there. He sits next to me when I sort, sits next to me when I work, and he's only with me right now because my wife's in the bath and she's so she can't be accessed. So he's down here with me. But yeah, he doesn't mess around this one.
I got into a concerned conversation with somebody over having a cigar in the card room.
That's an interesting one. Is that your boy John Newman?
No, I'm a cigar smoker and somebody who protects their vintage very carefully. Dylan, Double D,
I could see that.
vintage, was very concerned, as he should be.
Yeah.
As he should be.
He's got his own set of
I
problems.
don't have anything raw exposed if I have a cigar.
Yeah, yeah. I could see that happening. I mean, I don't smoke. Listen, I grew up with my mom smoking, and everything like those cars that I'm talking about, those beaters that I have. I'm sure they're, you could smoke one of those and get quite a nicotine buzz off of them from growing up in a house of smoke. But I don't have to worry about that now, and I could understand that concern for sure.
I no longer do it. I was shamed. I was in the house 6 weeks, so I had a total of one enjoyable cigar.
Get yourself a place outside, man, to just sit back and relax.
You know this. You know this temperature here.
Today it changed. Okay, that doesn't mean the
Yeah.
past 6 weeks it's been gorgeous outside.
It has been.
So today it definitely changed though, man.
I'm so cold.
Yeah, me too. Me too, man. My wife's like, "Why are you dressed up?" This morning I come down, I have shoes on. She goes, "Where are you going?" I said, "Nowhere. My feet are cold. I'm going down to work in my shoes." So
This is the first time I think I've ever recorded in the hoodie with the long john underneath, and
I love it. It's a great time. I've said it before. I don't care where I live 11 months out of the year as long as I can have an October in the Northeast. The other 11 months are worth it, whether it's 11 months of Phoenix temperatures in the summer or 11 months of Nome, Alaska. Everything's worth it for that 1 month in October. It's just such a great month for
I like
weather, for sports, for everything, right?
for leaves.
For leaves. I love it. Yeah. I love it.
If the leaves change color, then I'm in the right place for the fall.
It's football, man. It's like
That's I was about to say.
Sweatshirt weather, sweatshirt and shorts, right? Sweatshirt.
What does Maryland do? Crab cakes and football.
Yeah, I guess so.
I want to show you, so I can tell you. So I've talked about my Koufax run.
I
have one in the mail.
Yo, man, 66.
And then I am a
last card right there,
57. Right? No, my 57 is my last one.
No, I'm saying that's his last card. It's 66.
Oh, last playing card. Yeah.
Wow. Congrats, man.
Well, part of this was your encouragement, you know.
He's awesome. Oldest living.
I enjoyed collecting again. Just you know.
That's what it's about, man. That's what it's about. So what you're saying right now, Danny Black, Danny Darks, is that the World Series has you so jazzed up that you're out there collecting goats.
You have been doing some camera work.
I do, yeah.
That's a professional transition.
A segue.
What would you say? Would you say that you think the World Series makes people more or less interested in collecting?
I am, as you know, the worst person to ask this question because my finger is not on that pulse. My finger's been in many places the last few years, but it certainly has not been in or on the pulse of baseball and how it is perceived by and the World Series, the hobby racks, the World Series. Now, last year the Phillies were in it, so I was into it a little bit, but did that move the needle for non-Philadelphians or non-Astronians?
Well, I don't think there's a lot of storylines this year that captivate the country.
Was there last year is what I'm saying. I don't have any comparison to last year.
I think the Astros, anytime you have, you know.
I guess Verlander was a big story last year, right?
And everybody likes the bad guy, the heel, you know. And Bryce Harper's become like this Captain America. He's totally turned around his whole career and persona. And
so you're saying that?
I'm saying that I think a down World Series enthusiasm leads to down hobby enthusiasm.
So we're in the bear shits in the wood territory, right?
November is typically a bad month anyway in the hobby. I think November is going to be ugly.
Speaking of ugly, and this may be a sidebar. Yeah, there you go. Speaking of ugly, what about if the Rangers win tonight and there is a parade in Dallas, I assume Friday or Saturday. What does that do to the Dallas Card Show?
So I'm not going to the Dallas Card Show.
I am. I'm going to Dallas Friday.
I know a lot of people. A lot of people are.
Yeah.
You know what? I guess if you're a Rangers fan, you're thrilled with that problem.
It's crazy though,
I'm
huh?
trying to imagine if it was like in Baltimore. You know, what would I be feeling?
Well, it'd be different in Baltimore because Baltimore hasn't done anything in 40 years, right?
Well,
World
this would be
Series
their
wise.
first one ever.
What do you mean?
Rangers' first World Series.
Oh! I thought you were talking about the Orioles.
No,
Yeah,
no,
it
no.
would, right? But like Moynihan and I talked about that last week. Like he says, there's not a feeling of like a whole region being around, rallying around that team. He said it's just like it was business as usual against the Astros for whatever reason, which is odd, right?
I told you it's a lackluster World Series.
It is. I mean, no offense to the Arizonians,
Oh, thank
but
you.
but like it is really like there's yes, they've won a World Series. Yes, they've had some great players. I don't know if any of them are homegrown, but it's like it's one of those. I get the impression that Arizona's like a lot like Florida, where everybody's from somewhere else and they already have their teams, and then there's not that obviously there's not that rich history, but everything about it seems so vanilla. The indoor stadiums, and now they have the AstroTurf in the indoor stadiums, and then there's a good young team, but nobody's really pumped, I guess, outside of the
Well,
Valley of the Sun.
who's gotten a bump or who's gotten hurt in the card world?
I don't know because I don't follow the modern, but Corbin Carroll had a great year and a
Yes.
not so great divisional series. I don't know how he's doing in the World Series. Obviously, none of them are doing well in the World Series, but
Yeah.
you're saying there's some Rangers that might be in that position to.
I think Corey Seager, everybody says there's East Coast, West Coast bias. When he was with the Dodgers, he probably didn't get the credit he deserved.
Right.
And now he's getting the national stage again, and he's the man. There's no,
What does this do for the manager? I mean, is this surefire Hall of Fame stuff then?
Boch, yeah, I think Boch is in, but
was he in anyway?
I think so.
Yeah, I too. But it's an amazing thing how to go.
It's unbelievable.
He was obviously the missing ingredient, right? It wasn't DeGrom, but he was the guy who put it because they had a lot of talent last year, right?
Well, they picked up
They spent some money.
Eovaldi, and
Right.
Josh Young probably would have won the Rookie of the Year over Gunnar Henderson if he stayed healthy all year.
Right.
I don't know. I'm happy for our friends that are Rangers fans, but
listen, don't pluralize.
Yeah, but otherwise,
don't pluralize it. You're making it sound like there's rain. Show me on your one thumb finger the amount of Rangers fans you know.
Okay, so I have like 3 people I'm rooting for.
That's more than I thought. Okay. I only know one. I've only ever known one Rangers fan in my lifetime, and he happens to be one of the other co-hosts on this show. But it's like I can't call a Diamondback fan to talk trash. I could call a Rangers fan to talk trash, but it's like
you just made an interesting comment. Half the hobby's from Dallas, and none of them are Rangers fans.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Dr. Jim is probably he's a Pirates fan, but he's
right.
And Rich Klein's a whatever Mets, Yankees, Mets, whatever Dodgers fan. But yeah, it's like, again, there's a lot of people from elsewhere, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of hobby banging of maybe it's the people I don't subscribe to or people that I don't subscribe to that are making noise, but I don't see a lot of that.
Are there teams that would have had you interested?
Phillies, probably, right?
Well, that's true.
Otherwise, I don't. I don't like baseball. The baseball doesn't draw me in anymore because
Baltimore, Philadelphia.
No, I mean, no. It just doesn't it doesn't draw me in because of the way
that would have been so cool.
It would have been cool. Yeah, it sucks because we talk about nobody wants to see the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers in there every year, right? And I get that. I get that, right? But it's like, somebody's got to be in there, right? Like nobody wants to watch the Marlins and the Rays, right? Nobody wants to watch the Diamondbacks versus the Rangers. It's a baseball. It's easy for me to say baseball has an image problem, but apparently they're doing great. So what's
Well,
going on if people aren't
they're,
watching?
they got killed against the NFL the other night. I forget which night
Yeah,
the ratings
you're
were.
never going to beat the NFL will never be beaten. It's too
It
easy to
shouldn't be
gamble on. It's too
3 or
easy to play
4
fantasy.
times or whatever the number was in viewership. I mean, it was
Yeah.
embarrassing for baseball.
There's no way around that. NFL somehow lucked into a lot of things, right? They share their TV revenue on a national level.
Yep.
They share most of their merchandising. They have fantasy football, and it's easy to bet on. Like these parlays that the baseball is trying to get you to bet on. You know, the broadcasters before they leave the studio, they want you to bet on this parlay. Have any of those parlays hit? I'm sure they have, but most of them don't seem to hit. You know, so and so getting 10 strikeouts, so and so stealing a base.
I've seen them where the guys are not even playing in the lineup. I mean,
So it's like it's just where football, it's like over under. How hard is that? 3.5 point spread. How like it's so easy to bet on that stuff. Baseball, it's like soccer, man. Like betting on soccer is the silliest thing in the world because most of the scores are 1-0 or 2-1. So you
I
can't
take
get your
I
points
I
bet.
take draw.
Huh? You take a draw?
I just bet on draw.
Yeah, it's a you're I don't know whether that's optimism or pessimism, but you're one of them or both of them. But yeah,
Uh,
it's, my son loves sports, but my son is also of a generation who, I talk about the ESPN generation. He's beyond that. He's the gambling in the phone, in your hand generation, right? So it's like that's what keeps him engaged. I can pop on my phone like, what's the over under on the
yep.
what was the game last week? It was two scrubs, and they had like 60 points by halftime or something.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, "What's the over under on that game?" He said, "Like 43," and they're already
Sure.
halftime. They're already 17 points past that. But
Well, let
it's
me.
more engaging. Football's easier to deal with. Whatever.
Well, I'm gonna bring this back to cards for baseball. Aren't moments made in the World Series? Aren't we supposed to like get heroes out of this and like Roberto Clemente and Brooks Robinson and all these great World Series?
Most of
We,
the the Illuminati that run this hobby don't know who Brooks Robinson and Roberto Clemente are. When was the last? To me, well, you could say Schilling, right? That was a World Series moment. Kirk Gibson is like the biggest one I can remember in the past 40 years, I guess. Does it happen anymore? Does
I
it?
mean, Joe
Joe
Carter,
Carter, don't say
David
Joe Carter.
Freese had
Joe Carter, kiss my butt.
Well, I'm not a fan, but he walked it off
Yeah, it was against
uh,
the Phillies.
against Mitch Williams.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, there are moments. I just don't know if those moments have existed in the last 20 years or the way or the in the frame of mind the hobby is right now. So do we have those moments and will we know,
That's
right? Biggest baseball moment probably in the last, post or COVID to post COVID era was the Aaron Judge 60 home runs. Did it really move the needle on his stuff? Because he was kind of a legendary figure prior to, right? He was a
well, it lived
savior
it for
prior to.
about a month at the end of last year, and then
Okay. Yeah, but
that was
it's and
that's it.
and Shohei's not having a moment. He's having kind of a unique career. So, that's a different kind of thing. But you're talking about in the moment in a 7-game, 2-week frame. I haven't seen that in a while, maybe. But maybe I've been tuned out.
I don't know. I think that heroes are made in the World Series. Maybe now that more games are televised, it's different. Where you used to see the guys a lot of times for the first time in the World Series, and maybe now we're spoiled, so we know what everybody looks
So,
like before we get there.
so you're not going to have any pitching heroes in the World Series anymore, it seems like, right? Because we have like
I
one of the
mean,
things I do here is
middle relievers, John.
the mockery today. There was a lot of mockery today about, you know, having a bullpen day in a World Series. Like, what's the sport come to when you're having bullpen days in the World Series? Phillies only had 2.5 quality starters. I guess that's normal, but I remember back in the day they used to go, Here's one for you. Bob Walk started the first game of the 1980 World Series for the Phillies. So yeah, that was crazy back then. But it was
Terrible
also
terrible
yeah,
name for a pitcher.
But it's I don't know if too many teams go 3 starters deep anymore. Ranger Suarez for the Phillies wasn't really, he was a decent third starter until he got found out in the last game. But the Diamondbacks, yeah, it's strange, man. It's a different. So you're not going to have those Kurt Schilling moments, I guess, anymore. Or Randy Johnson probably had a few. You're certainly not going to have any Sandy Koufax World Series or Bob Gibson World Series. So,
Well, I don't know. I'm partial, but I think a Brooks Robinson-esque World Series.
Do you get paid every time you mention his name?
Well, only because recent people were exposed to him, unfortunately, and there were a lot of highlights recently. So I'm hoping they might know who he is.
Okay.
What do you want me to say?
You're shameless, dude.
I am. What do you want me to say? Yankee? You want me to say
Chris
Derek
Hoyle?
Jeter?
How about
Let's
Tony?
talk about Derek Jeter.
Remember when Tony Tarasco had his moment in the postseason?
Oh!
Didn't think I'd be able to run that
one. Jeffrey Mayer fan club.
Jeffrey Mayer fan club, man. Wow, crazy, huh?
He's an adult somewhere. That bothers me.
He is an adult. He's somebody's dad, man. He's telling his kid to go down to the fence right now.
There's got to be a hotline to call for something.
Who's the dude that runs around and catches the home run balls and steals them from everybody?
I don't know.
Is that Jeffrey Meyer? It's not him.
No,
that'd be a perfect job for him, right?
He did it for against the Orioles. And you know what? Had they gone to the World Series, the superstars would have had their card values go up.
I don't think so, because that was in an era where
there were
some incredible Danny. There were some incredible players in the 90s.
Yeah,
incredible, like all world players that your Frank Thomases and your Griffey Juniors and all that stuff, and their card values are, and that kind of set the tone for the next generation. I talked about Cabrera on a show this week. Cabrera, even Pujols, they're not that, their base cards are just like not that spectacular. And that's the same thing in the 90s, even though those guys were incredible. So I don't know if we would have seen a big bump.
I'm sorry, I missed that appearance of yours. I didn't mean to.
You're like, it was on the dark web. Did you? So who did that team have back then? It had Ripken. It had
Alomar, Ripken,
Mussina,
Palmeiro.
Yeah.
I mean, before we knew any better, it was a great team.
Yeah. I just don't think it's easy to move the needle anymore, because we're so desensitized to all this stuff, right? Like, and I don't know what it is. The needle moves the other way real quick, as we learned this year from a couple players. But to move in a peak, it just doesn't seem like it's doing that anymore for some reason.
Do you think that Derek Jeter flipping affected his?
No, I don't know. I mean, Derek Jeter. There's still arguments every day on Twitter about if Jeter was any good, right? Like.
Yep.
We don't have those arguments about Phil Rizzuto, and Jeter was a lot better than Phil Rizzuto, So
Phil Rizzuto was overrated also. But.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, it's just like, there's no, we want to argue and all that stuff about how a player doesn't deserve this or doesn't deserve that. There's lots of good players out there that have no card value at all. Certainly not any more value than some of the rookies that have been touted. So,
and you have 170,000 ready for sale.
Yeah, got a lot of them over there, man. All different colors, yellow, red. It's like a Lucky Charms over there, man. So many colors. It's great.
I could crush a bowl of Lucky Charms. I might do that.
Yeah, I was thinking that. My wife came home with some cereal for herself. I'm like, I got to go to the store tomorrow and get myself some cereal.
Wait, she got cereal for herself and not you?
Well, I eat Cheerios, which is the most, vanilla cereal you can buy. And she got like Honey Nut Cheerios. And I was like, ooh, that's spicy. I'll go get some Apple Jacks tomorrow.
That's the swinger of Cheerios.
I guess so. I could eat a box of cereal in a sitting, like Apple Jacks, Lucky Charms, Reese's Puffs. I can eat that. I can eat a whole box anytime, anywhere. Even if they don't have baseball cards in them, unfortunately, I could still eat them. So.
Well, I would say if you open any of them, just don't eat the gum.
Yeah. The what?
Don't eat the gum.
Oh, okay. You have to learn to enunciate
your
G's a little
gum.
Sorry about that. I can't hear like I used to. Anyway, yeah. World Series is happening. What about basketball? Does anybody care about basketball anymore?
Is there EuroLeague? What's going on?
I don't know.
No, actually, you know what? I did a fantasy league this year just to learn the NBA again.
Did you? Okay.
Just to learn the NBA again because I have fallen off the earth with the NBA.
Yeah, I guess Wemby or Wemba is in there, right? So that's causing all kind of stuff. But
Bronny's card came out today. Somebody hit the superfractor already. Bronny Jr.
Who cares?
People, so many people.
Oh man,
not us.
But why
John.
do they care? Why do they care? Somebody explain to me why they care.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's just it's just all dollar bills, man. Like
because
a
part of me likes prospecting, so I get it.
But why do you like prospecting? You like making money, right?
No, I like trying to be right about players. I like the talent evaluation. But I think I'm unique in that.
Yeah, but listen, man, it's like baseball, right? They used to say you hit 3 out of 10 and you're in the Hall of Fame. Prospecting, the odds are way worse than 3 out of 10.
Oh, they're awful.
It's all luck. It's not you. You're telling me you're picking a one mook and you're going to gather that mook's cards and you're putting your eggs in that basket. It's not, right? You're just
I'm going to pick 6 mooks and I'm going to hope that
you're
one
still going to be 0 for 6 probably. Yeah. You'll be 0 for 6 times, 6 years in a row, and then 1 year you'll be 1 for 6, and it'll all be worth it, I suppose, huh?
I enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
I go to the minor league games. I get to see the players.
Okay.
The Orioles have their teams local, so I get to see them.
Do you go to Frederick or you go to Bowie?
Bowie Aberdeen now is a big one.
Bowie and Aberdeen are nowhere near each other.
No, but Aberdeen is the Ironbirds, they're minor league.
Okay, Bowie and Aberdeen. There's 2 different ones. Okay.
Yes.
Do they play up in the Cal Ripken setup?
Yes.
They play up there, huh? That's pretty cool. If you're ever going down 95 South and you pass Havre de Grace and the Aberdeen exits, look on your right if you're going south. You'll see a nice little baseball complex.
hon.
It's pretty cool, hon.
Yeah, hon.
And if you keep going south, go to the Cafe Hun in Hamden. Is that where it is?
It is.
Okay. Yeah.
And you say that I talk about Brooks Robinson.
Yeah. Well,
this is the Baltimore episode. I appreciate that.
I get around, Danny. That's for sure.
That's what the bathroom stall said.
I'm glad you got Brooks's name in one more time, man.
You know what the funny part is? I still never got the card.
Yeah. Oh.
All this talking about it, never.
The 57?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on my list too, man. Stuff pops up every now and then, like insane deals on Facebook, and people like there was I forget what card was out there today, and it like somebody listed 5 cards, and the one I wanted, like it sold. It was dirt cheap, and I'm like, and it was same thing. Like you'll see a Brooks Robinson, whatever. I don't care if it's a 2. But you'll see it for like $175. I'm like, I'll take that for $175, man. But it says sold next to it, because
those go probably right away.
I know there was I forget what the one I saw today was, but it was ridiculous. I was like, holy mackerel, somebody got a heck of a deal on that, man.
You've told me this several times that you do well on Facebook. I'll admit I don't purchase and sell on Facebook.
It's what's disheartening is today, and I see it probably once a day. Well, I got scammed. I never thought it would happen to me. And this is like in the vintage groups where people are supposed to be savvier. And I don't understand how you can get scammed. Well, the guy told me he only takes Cash App, and like Cash App is the biggest red flag apparently out there, right? Because there's no tracing that stuff. People fall for it, man, and it's crazy that people still fall for it. But Twitter's a great place to do it, especially Wednesday night. Cards with a Story has his vintage night.
Yep.
And Mike Go, I buy stuff from him on Tuesday nights on Mike Go's Card Shop. there's a lot of safe places to buy cards out there. And I'm in that kind of that mode right now. There's a lot of old players that get cards, in these top like whatever platinum anniversary stuff like that.
Hmm.
And I used to buy the boxes. Now I'll pay a little extra for the individual cards. I think Moynihan kind of finally rubbed off on me that way. Just buy the individual card for $2 instead of buying a box for 120.
What did Moynihan do to you?
He rubbed up against me and then rubbed off on
Okay.
me as well. So it was a 2-for-1 deal.
Rangers must have won.
Yeah, yeah. He's going to be insufferable this weekend because he won't have anybody to celebrate
I'm
with
glad
because there's
you
no other
said
Rangers fans. Even in Arlington or Texas, wherever. I'm seriously, I'm wondering, like, this
the
place can be empty.
headline: a Texas man.
Yeah, a Texas man celebrates. It's a one-man parade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor dude's going to show up in his foam finger. I don't even know where they have parades in Texas because it's so spread out. Like, where would they have they're hopefully not Dealey
They go
Plaza.
to they just go to one person's house and everybody meets up.
They go to South Fork and have go up and down the driveway. Yeah, it'll be interesting this weekend because Dallas Card Show gets a lot of hype and man.
Well, have fun at the card show.
I'm not really there for the card show, but I
I know.
appreciate it, man. I'm going
Enjoy
down
any dinners, any fun,
there. Quick trip,
any of that
24
stuff.
hours. Yeah, so it'll be
Yeah.
fun. I don't have anything on my list, but I'm taking my book with me wherever my book is. My book's right here, Danny.
Okay.
So, and that has my my checklists in it. So I'll show you folks. For example, that's my 1960 Leaf.
Very
page.
cool.
So we'll work on that. See what happens. So yeah, that's it. Although I do have a confession to make to everybody, all 12 listeners. When I was stuffing my 56 set into the binder, I couldn't find the 56 Mini Minoso. So it's either like behind a bookcase somewhere, or I'm going to buy one this weekend. It's quite embarrassing saying I have the whole 56 set when I don't. So that is what I will be on the hunt for: a raw 56 Mini Minoso. So.
Well, he played enough years. There should be a 56 lying around somewhere.
Yeah, it's somewhere back there, but I'm too lazy to move one of the cabinets to find it. So,
all right. Well, somehow we have almost hit 40 minutes.
And we didn't talk about anything.
We're the Seinfeld of baseball cards.
Tell them what I proposed to talk about. What the topic I came up with is there anything left to talk about the content?
Well, you don't understand. Moynihan and I have done that show.
Yeah. What's left to talk about it that isn't being talked about? So anyway, we talked about some stuff. Hopefully we entertain.
It was genuinely good to catch up also.
Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while, man. Hope you're well and hope the family's well.
To you.
See you in the spring, man. We're all going to hibernate up here in the Northeast, so we'll see the rest of you guys in the spring.
And we got a new one of our mutual card shops has a new location, so we got to meet up there one day.
In Belair?
Yeah.
So you said they went bigger, huh?
Bigger, better.
And they're changing kind of their approach, you said? I heard you say, or they...
It's a lot of wax.
Interesting. Well, that's where it sells, right?
I guess. So there's Pop-A-Shot, a little arcade area.
Okay.
So you can have your birthday party there.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait. I'll tell my wife to book a party for me. Have all the guys over, all the Rangers fans.
And just bring the regular Cheerios.
Yeah, bring the regular Cheerios. Cool.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Danny. You have a great, great night.
All right. Am I supposed to play anything on the way out, or can I just leave now?
You just stop us.
All
Pull the plug. Blue line us.